Hey, it's Carlo. Before we jump into the show, I just want to apologize for any audio issues that are here. Dave and I were sharing a microphone during this episode, and Brendan's microphone was acting up a bit as well. We tried to clean it up as best we could, but it's not perfect. It's far from it. Hopefully, it doesn't distract you too much. Other than that, enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Ranger Things podcast.
Welcome to Ranger Things. We're recording on Monday, August 7th. I'm Carlo Montagnino, and I'm joined by Brendan Lyons.
Howdy, everybody.
And actually standing right next to me in the flesh, Dave Pacheco.
Greetings, fleshy Ranger fans.
That's fucking gross. It's a weird thing to say to people.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like the Stan Lee bit, but that one was a little bit weird. So today we're covering not much. It's still slow. We're in the dog days here, but there is some news we'll talk about. Rangers have a few small news items, and then there's some league-wide stuff we want to cover. But before we jump into it, as always, you can visit us on rangerthingspodcast.com. You can follow us on Twitter at rangerthings23 and subscribe to the show using the service of your choice. Also, if you are already subscribed, please leave a rating, maybe a review. That'd be nice, much appreciated. Don't be honest, just give us 5 stars. Let's get into it. Big, giant re-signing.
No, massive.
It's not Alexis Lafreniere. It's Brandon Scanlin. He signed to a 1-year, 2-way deal. Playing for Hartford. He'll be earning $100K in Hartford. If he does make it up to the big club, that's $775,000. He had 15 points in 61 games. He had 1 assist in 9 playoff games. This is the one we've been waiting for all summer.
This is the other shoe that we've been waiting to drop.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine depth signing for Hartford. You know, we'll never see him in the Garden.
No.
Yeah, it's just something for, future trade packages next year, following year.
We never would have heard this news any other offseason, but this one, there is nothing happening at all. And everyone's just desperately waiting for the Lafreniere news. So any Rangers signs SEO headline is just going to...
Yeah.
We have to click and report it.
Now you think there's going to be panic amongst the Ranger fan base, or you think this is just, par for the course, nothing to worry about. He's going to get signed before training camp.
Well, you're talking about Lafreniere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be clear, Dave. The Ranger fan base is in a constant state of panic. Constant. They're always angry at everything all the time. I don't know. They'll probably just spend the next until Lafreniere gets signed. It'll be an argument on whether or not we should sign him or we should. I see this one small contingent of people screaming that we should go out and sign Nick Ritchie instead of Lafreniere. Ranger fans are dumb. Maybe I shouldn't say that because this is a Ranger fan podcast and we're trying to pull in Ranger fans, but y'all are dumb.
Wait, Paul. I think that depends on where you're looking, right? This is Facebook, I'd imagine.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I think there's, the fight is everywhere. Some people think that Lafreniere is a bust. I think that's crazy. I think the major divide, and the opinions, the hot takes don't just stop with Lafreniere. They're about Kakko and Hedel and Panarin and Zibanejad. Pretty much everybody but Adam Fox. They hate some people hate Adam Fox because he doesn't have enough grit. The real line in the sand is whether or not people understand hockey, fundamentally. And that's the thing about New York sports, is that the Rangers got good in 2014 before that, in the dark days, it was just actual hockey fans. But there's been this movement for the last 8-ish years. They got good. They made those few little runs, and a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon right before the rebuild. And these people don't know how to handle themselves right now.
Yeah, and I think not only that, it's as far as people jumping into being an NHL fan, who maybe follow other sports or didn't really follow the sports, and unlike other sports like basketball and football and baseball and stuff like that. Well, baseball kind of too is in line with the NHL, where in the fact that a lot of players, a lot of guys have to mature. They have to be into their mid-20s for them to hit their stride. You're not going to come out of high school or after 1 year of college or 2 years of college and just be like, blowing the doors off.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, the youngest football players in the NFL are 21 years old, 22 years old. And football players are fucking specimens. They are the 0.001% of the society, football players. They are freak athletes, as far as size and strength and speed. And still it takes them time to mature. And basketball is just a different game. And even still, look at how many basketball players have to go through the NCAA. They have to mature in college.
Mm-hmm. I would be remiss to not be concerned about this signing not happening. Like, we spoke a little bit about it the past few weeks, but like, what are we waiting for? What is it can't be dollars and cents at this point. Are we waiting for a deal to come through? Are we waiting for, is it a discussion about minutes? I don't know.
Obviously, I don't know anything or anybody. Right?
Well, why are you here? You don't know?
It's not like I have an insider, who's feeding me information. I don't have a back channel through Larry and the Larry Brooks and the front office.
First name basis.
But like, I don't know. Just as a person who has been watching the Rangers conduct, not only play hockey, but conduct business for almost 40 years, it's just the summer, man. It's just the summer, and it's an inconsequential contract that both sides know are going to get inked. And that's it. It's just the fucking summer. Like, people are like, is Lafreniere going to sign? I'm like, is Lafreniere in the gym? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Like, is Lafreniere with a new skating coach? Has the team found him a new skating coach? Those are the questions I want answered. I don't give a fuck what date he signs his contract on. I know that nobody's going to offer sheet this kid because the NHL's a dumb league. That's what we should rename this podcast, the NHL's a dumb league, because I say it every week. I know that he wants to be here. We don't want him to leave. Even if he didn't want to be here, he's got to be here if we want him here.
Yeah.
We're not going to trade him.
No, I think the concern is more what you're saying about like his conditioning. Like, yeah, okay, he'll sign. I really don't doubt he'll sign. But is this going to go into camp? Is he going to lose time conditioning for the season, which is the number one complaint about this guy? Like,
I don't think so.
Like, I'd like to say no, just for the fact of a whole new coaching staff. Lots of big names in the NHL through the last 40 years. And I'd be hard pressed to think that Laviolette hasn't been talking to Lafreniere or his agent rather, conveying, like we said, minutes played, what line he could be expected to be put on, and basically, is he going to get a better shot than he did in the previous regime?
Yeah, is the opportunity going to be there? I think that's probably a big part of the conversation. I don't know if it's dollars and cents at this point.
Yeah, I can't see that really.
Maybe it's years. Maybe Lafreniere wants a year bridge, and they want to give him a 2-year bridge. That could be a hang up. Because maybe Lafreniere's looking at it and saying, you know what, new coach, I'm going to bet on myself.
The cap's going to go up next year.
Right. The cap's going up. Give me $2.2 million. And if the opportunity is definitely going to be there, then I'll bet on myself and I'll fucking set the world on fire this season and I'll get paid. Maybe that's the hang up.
Yeah. Well, also on that conditioning tip, the Rangers did make another hire to the coaching staff. Christian Hmura.
Hmura? We're definitely butchering that name, but I don't get
Yeah, that's okay. But he's the new skills and performance development coach. Before we get into his background, which I did a little bit of research, aka I read the post. Mark, the previous coach, Mark Ciaccio.
Ciaccio.
He actually requested a role change on the team.
Yeah,
so
he
he's now
sucks at his job.
Yeah. Well, he's now the prospect development skills coach. So they brought in Hmura. He has his own development program. Does not have any professional experience. He's coached teenagers. I think he was in the Quebec Major Junior League for a season. But he has his own development program. And the principles of that are, and I'm quoting, being a well-versed skater creates the time and space to utilize the skills that you practice day in and day out, which doesn't mean anything, really.
Well,
but
yeah,
it's really something, things that make you go,
Oh, Jesus.
God in heaven.
I'll be here all week.
So maybe I read this wrong, but I thought I read it. I didn't read the post. I read about him on Blue Shirt Banter. But that said he would be strictly working with prospects.
No, that's
That's going to be
Ciaccio. Yeah, Ciaccio.
That's how you have to say the name. You could, hey, Ciaccio.
Hey, Ciaccio. Hmura loves Ciaccio. Oh, never mind. We'll cut that. But yeah, I mean, this is something like Hmura. Maybe like the. I mean, obviously he has his own program. He'll be utilizing it with the Rangers. Maybe this is something that more to that player development, issues we've been having for the past 40 years.
So the only thing I know about him is that he's supposed to be a renowned skating coach, like a very highly touted, in-demand skating coach. So that's exactly what that's what Loft needs. That's what Cochran needs. That's what Phil needs. That's a lot of I think sometimes that's what Panarin needs. Like, Panarin could use a skating coach. I think Miller could use a skating coach at this stage of his career. Fox could definitely use a skating coach.
Yeah. I mean that's the one that is the problem with our team as constructed. Like we're fast at times. We're not strong skaters though. So this is definitely a big deal. I think it's small, it's quiet, middle of summer, but this is actually going to be, if it plays out the way I think they want it to play out, this is a huge signing, a huge hire for the Rangers.
I think it could be huge. I mean, it could pay huge dividends. Game wise and in the playoffs and further. Just in general, think about how many times we would have, we'd almost have like a breakout and then Panarin, Zibanejad, whoever trying to get fighting with the puck off the boards, going to turn up ice, and they're falling on their fucking knees and sliding. That's happened countless times where it's just like it shakes your head. It's like, is the ice surface terrible? But it's not happening to the other team. So it's got to be something with the fundamentals of skating or just body movement.
I think we're going to see a major improvement in a lot of things this year. But I do sometimes I am wondering if we've made so many changes that we're now going to have trouble identifying what it was that was effective. Is it Hmura? Is it just the Laviolette system? Is it Housley? What is it that lit? What is it? A combination of it? This is something that'll make sense to Dave. Anyone who does barbecue, they say if your barbecue sucks, you should change one thing at a time. Because if you change too many things, and things get better or get worse, you don't know what made it better or what made it worse. So you should change one thing at a time. Obviously, that's not a great analogy for hockey, but it seems like we're sort of just. I just don't want there to be an overreaction here, where we're.
I definitely see what you're saying. I agree to a point, but I think that the moves made are in the spirit of like a culture change. Like this is not like, oh, we need to tinker with this and that. Like they wanted to wash away everything Gallant did. I think the players clamored for it at the exit interviews. They made it very clear to Drury, like, hey, we want to be coached. We want a system. We want accountability. And I think that's, and when you see how they played in that Devils series, like they lost all heart, they lost all motivation. It seemed like they were kind of going out there to lose. So I think this is like they can get away with making a sweeping changes, at least with the coaching, as well as picking up all the free agents they did, or all the signings they did, because hey, our core is here telling us what they want. Let's just give it to them.
Like, I don't think your analogy is bad per se. I think it is fitting, but when it comes to sports and hockey and everything, it's like it's more of like, okay, like if we're getting good results, then it really doesn't matter
how it happened.
And coupled with the fact these guys have iPads and instant replays of their shift every time they come and sit down, so there is an instant feedback, so they can see what is different immediately, opposed to the tape they've been watching for the previous year and the previous games and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be a positive, and having a clear-cut system with Laviolette and not having any kind of system underneath Gallant, I mean, pretty much anything you do is going to be better. I don't think they would take a step back because they already regressed in the last half of last season.
Yeah, I do. I like that this is a shift. I like the way you stated it, Carlo, that this is a culture shift or culture change. And I like that they're doing this without really fucking with the core at all. Because I don't think the core is the problem. And I think it's more than just washing away Gallant. I think it runs deeper than that. I think it's washing away the last 25 years of this organization. We've been stuck in the mud since the mid-90s.
Yeah. We're still constantly talking about 94. It's like, it's embarrassing as a Rangers fan to have to hang your hat literally on a Stanley Cup that's from 30 years ago.
And, and that's the thing. I'm like, so, sometimes I get on them all the time for it, but, I get why some Ranger fans still like, oh, we need to make the type of moves that we made leading up to the Cup run in 94, because it's all we know. Right. But they have to acknowledge that's failed every time since 94. This is washing away Sather, is what I see.
Yes. No, I agree with you. The washing away Sather. There's a lot of moves they made in 94 that I still don't agree with, even though they won the Cup. I mean, you traded Tony Amonte away. You traded Mike Gartner away. Like, these guys, like, Amonte became an amazing player. Gartner was already an amazing and prolific scorer. Like, and you got, like, guys that, Glenn Anderson, Steve Larmer, things like that. It's like, fuck these old fucks. They literally barely, everybody's like, oh, no, we would never won the Cup if we didn't get them. It's like, I don't know about that. Fucking Brian Noonan?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of locker room guys there because Keenan had such a. Here I am, like, talking about how great 94 was, how smart every fucking thing was. They had such an animosity, Keenan and the team, that they wanted to build the room up to be more united against Keenan, like win despite him, which fucking it's insane. It doesn't work anymore.
I don't know. I thought their whole, like, if you ever watched the 94 whole run, Stanley Cup run, they had one message in the locker room. It's called heave ho. Everybody's pulling in the same direction, and Keenan spearheaded that. So I don't know if it was to spite him per se.
No, but I think to spite him, in spite of him.
In spite of, okay.
So much animosity between himself and the team Like when he benched Brian Leach, like that was like a line in the sand. But I mean, again, here we are talking about 94. Like, oh god, this is all we know. Like this is exactly because we have not had a good hockey team.
This is the last thing we have to hang our hat on, ladies and gentlemen. You know it.
This one will last a lifetime.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I see a shift happening here, and I see Drury making decisions. When I see baby boomers furious about the things that Chris Drury does, that's how I know he's a good GM. That's how I know. That's how I know. Drury is not thinking like an old head hockey guy, and I think that's the difference between him and like a guy like Dubas, for example, who Dubas can sometimes be confused for a young, slick GM, but really he's just an old hockey guy, and what happened today is further proof of that.
We'll get to that. That's gonna be a fun one.
Chris Drury doesn't think like an old he thinks like he's progressive in the way he approaches the game. He understands what it takes to win. He looks at teams like the Golden Knights and the Avalanche and the fucking Lightning, who are the model, and says, "Oh, you need that good balance, not only in lineup, but in the way the coach and the players interact with each other, and the way the balance and partnership between the head coach and the GM. That can't be siloed like it used to be.
Right.
There needs to be a partnership there. I think he understands that. And I think hiring Gallant was a knee-jerk reaction. He was, brand new to the job. Tom Wilson had just broken the Rangers. He needed to make a bunch of changes, and Gallant was just sitting out there, really the most qualified hire at the time.
Yeah.
But Gallant's just too much of an old hockey guy.
You hit the nail on the head there. It's like, Drury is an active model of a progressive GM. And I think you're right. He's looking at the NHL. He's looking at what's working. And, and you know what? Also, he's probably the smartest GM in the league. Like, he makes, even his bad decisions, you can at least, rationalize it. Right. And really, if we want to talk about the bad things he's done, maybe I could probably count them on two fingers.
It's one. I could think of one thing. Buchnevich.
Yeah. Exactly. But again, but we did pretty good without him. Like, it's not like he did not hold us back from winning a cup. That deal. So,
buddy, I gotta tell you. That we advanced to the finals with Buchnevich a year and a half ago, for sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Dude. Buchnevich is top 20 winner in the league.
Absolutely, but I don't think that was the piece that would have put us over the top.
Right.
I don't disagree. Buchnevich is. I would love to take that move back. We should try to get him back on the team. Like, this guy is awesome.
Especially since we're so shallow at right wing.
Well, now, yeah.
So Lafreniere for Buchnevich?
Oh, God. No.
All right. Let's, before Brendan has a meltdown talking about Lafreniere, let's take a quick break. Hey, Ranger Things listeners. You probably already know that you can subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, or just listen by visiting rangerthingspodcast.com. But did you know you can also follow us on Twitter at RangerThings23? Were you aware that you can email us at contact@rangerthingspodcast.com? Feel free to DM or email us any questions, feedback, or suggestions. And now, back to the show. Let's jump into NHL news at large. How's that sound?
Yeah, let's talk about the dumb things that have happened around the league.
We'll get to some dumb stuff, but David Krecji retired. The number two center for Boston retired, and we said it last episode. Boston's done, and now
they're
all
the way done.
They're all the way done now. But they signed Lucic, so maybe. It's still okay, but no, this is really bad.
There, without a close second, number one center is Pavel Zacha. Now, I like Pavel Zacha. Pavel Zacha is a great hockey player.
He's not a 2C.
But he's not a 1C.
He
is their best center at this point.
Just to speak a little bit more about Krecji, again, similar to Bergeron, another late-ish pick, 63rd overall in 2004. I combed through that draft. It wasn't as fun of a brush through as Bergeron's draft the year prior. But, again, David Krecji, kind of a sleeper. Obviously, came out aces getting picked 63rd overall. That's what a pick. But, yeah, Boston's done. So I think we can, just cross them off the list of playoff contenders that we have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And what a reversal. That's a shame. Last season was their last stab, record-breaking President's Trophy run, complete first-round exit, complete falling apart, and immediately once the postseason started. It's just really the ending that Boston deserves, as a city, as a team, as a state of mind. I think you would do, Boston.
Yeah,
fuck off.
Yeah, fuck you, Boston. Now you're weak down the middle. You see how the Rangers have been dealing with it for years. But they did do something good. They signed Milan Lucic back.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
I personally love Milan Lucic.
Yeah.
A player in that I modeled my beer league play after. Just grinding and hitting and scoring goals. How could you not like him? He's got the schnoz, he's got the moxie, and he's got the what's that, je ne sais quoi? He's got that banter on the ice.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have anything you want to say about Krecji or Lucic?
Yes. There's something I want to say about Milan Lucic.
Mm-hmm.
And how I met Milan Lucic in Boston.
You met him?
Oh shit!
Yeah. So the year was 2013, and I was in Boston, and it was during the World Series. Boston in the World Series,
mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the night they won. It wasn't that they didn't win the series. They had won a game in the finals, in the World Series, and I was in Boston in just head to toe Yankee gear, just a Yankee hat, a Yankee jersey. I had on Yankee pajama pants and Yankee puffy slippers. And we went to McGreevy's, which is famed, Dropkick Murphys write songs about them. And I thought I was gonna get killed, but the Boston fans were actually kind of they thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to make my way to the bathroom, and I'm shoulder checking people through the bar trying to get to the bathroom, and I bump into this guy. And he's just a brick wall, and I'm drunk as fuck. So I look up at him, and I'm about to be get out of my fucking way. And I look up, and it's Lucic, and he looks down at me, and he smiles, and he's like, "You're gonna die in here tonight, kid." So that's how I met Milan.
So you in slippers, you were trying to go into a public restroom. That's braver than almost mouthing off to Lucic.
Yeah.
That's a fun story.
I was really drunk. Hopefully it was Lucic. I was really drunk.
It could have been any guy.
And I've been telling people that it was Milan Lucic for 11 years.
Yeah.
But I was really, really intoxicated.
That's funny.
It definitely felt like it was Milan Lucic. He definitely looked like Milan Lucic.
This wheel is turning ever slowly.
Yeah.
You know what? He was just wearing a Milan Lucic jersey. And
Milan, if you're listening to this, please send an email to RangerThings.
Contact at rangerthingspodcast.com.
Yeah, and confirm or deny whether or not that was you. If it wasn't you, then I'm embarrassed. Then I've got a lot of people. I've got to make a lot of corrections. I call a lot of people and be like, "Hey, it actually wasn't Milan Lucic." It was just a slightly above average height man in a Lucic shirt.
You just didn't have your wits about. You didn't have your balance. That's why you bounced off him, because you were wearing slippers.
Yeah, he was so big. Whoever it was massive.
Probably was Milan Lucic. I believe it.
I found this on the.
All right. So
I found this on the web. It was Milan Lucic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Siri, did I bump into Milan Lucic? All right. So the next stop, and this is, I think we're going to sit on this one for a while here. I think probably.
Oh wait, can we not? Can we stay on the Bruins for just a second?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So fantasy, just let's live in a fantasy world for a second.
Just for everyone listening, Brendan just got more giddy now than I've seen him in 5 years.
Yeah. Who do we have to move? Like, what combination of players and picks would you move to bring Charlie Mack home?
Lafreniere for McAvoy, straight up.
Well, no, remember it's nine. He makes him and Fox make $9.5 million each.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, I want a $19 million top defensive pairing.
I think
or $20 million top defensive pairing. That's what I want.
I
I want
mean-
Fox McAvoy top pairing.
Lindgren's in there.
Gotta be.
Keandre Miller probably. Even
No, I would not move him.
I know, but I'm saying
I don't think
like,
you'd have
that's
to.
what they would
no,
ask.
No, because they're in the early stages of a rebuild, so they're
Yeah.
going to take on dead money, and they're going to look for picks. It's going to be a lot of picks.
Yeah, I would. It'll probably take. We have a lot of draft picks coming up. It's probably, I would say, Lindgren first round, second round would get them answering phone calls. Well, we have to also move another asset because we need to open up that space.
Right.
But I mean that. I
And
think that's
money. We'd have to move money.
Yeah, I
Don't-
think that's a good start.
Don't come at me, Rose. Don't come at me for what I'm about to suggest.
Oh, let's hear it.
All right. How much money does Lindgren make?
Lindgren? Oh, I think he's like 6 something. Let me look it up.
No,
he
no
ain't
way.
6 mil. No way.
You sure?
No fucking way.
Three and change, I think.
3 and
How much
change.
is-
Okay, yes, you're right.
What does he make?
3 million on the nose.
Yeah.
$3 million on the nose, which means we need to free up $6.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Who makes exactly $6.5 million?
Oh, this
Fucking guy.
You know, okay, so for
Would
everyone
you
playing along at home,
would
Chris
you
Kreider
package
makes 6.5
would you
million.
package Lindgren, Kreider, and a second?
No,
or-
it's got to be a first.
or
It's
a-
got to be the first.
Would you package Kreider, a first, and Lindgren for Charlie McAvoy?
I mean,
Think
McAvoy,
about that. That means you free up space on the left for
Mhm.
Lafreniere, and you bring in one of the. You have maybe the best defensive core ever.
How long's McAvoy signed till?
I think he's got him and Fox have the exact same contract. I think.
Really?
I'm looking up the Bruins. I am not mad at this question. I think this is an awesome question. I think this is fun. Unbiased, I am not opposed to moving Kreider at this stage in the game. It hurts emotionally,
Yeah.
absolutely, to think about it. But like,
Let
because
the kid go home. Let him go to Boston.
McAvoy signed all the way through that
2030.
2030. So
Yeah, same as Fox.
yeah,
He's 25.
I mean, we'll have we'll have them, and then who fucking cares about 10 years from now, 6 years from now?
That means think about this. You've got 5 years of Fox and McAvoy in their prime on the same team.
Yeah, I mean the premise is solid. I'm game. Will they move? Will they package? Well, okay. Obviously, fantasy right now, it's going to be Kreider, Lindgren, and a first. That's what it would take.
And I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Does defense win championships in the NHL?
Defense wins championships.
Well, you have Shesterkin, which gets you to the playoffs, and then able to win any game. Now you have the best defensive core in the NHL, and you have a pretty solid,
Oh, and you still have the second overall pick, the first overall pick.
Yeah,
Artemi
I mean,
Panarin,
that
Mika
move immediately.
Zibanejad, Vinny Trocheck.
I mean, you lose Kreider, who is like, this is like a team. This is like a locker room thing, right? You will jeopardize that room. But maybe that gives, maybe Kreider is in the way of someone like Lafreniere stepping up.
That's
right?
true. All right, I didn't think of that.
And not to say that Kreider is
He's 100% in the way. He's 100%
not bad for the room, but it's just like maybe there's just time to let's just move. Kreider's the only holdover from the past iteration of the Rangers that's not been transitional.
10 years ago.
I can tell you this right now with 100% certainty. If Jeff Gorton knew that when Jeff Gorton was making his moves, if he knew he was going to get Capo Caco and Alexis Lafreniere, there is no shot in hell he signs Chris Kreider that deal.
Yeah.
No way. There's
I agree.
no way. Kreider would have gotten traded to Boston back then when we all thought he was going to get traded to Boston.
It's again, like, is that a move that you want to do? Not really. It's like Chris Kreider. Who doesn't love Chris Kreider? But you're absolutely right. Like that's smart hockey.
Really, yeah. That's, man. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the Rangers roster, and that would solve the blockage for Lafreniere. That would put him in a more prominent role. Obviously, emotionally, it's going to gut every Ranger fan.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, it's emotional because he's been on the team for so long.
Right.
He had one absolutely phenomenal season 2 seasons ago at this point. It's like, which is a great season. Like, you can't ever take that away from him. That was a masterclass. But he can't do that every season. He's not the player to,
right.
And he's a heart and soul guy. He's not a points guy. He's not a score sheet.
I'm sorry. On the flip side, though, I think it might work because, I mean, he's a good leader, yes, but he's more of a quiet leader, and I don't think that has worked for the Rangers in the last, I don't know. I don't think I just don't think it has worked. Yeah, since McDonough, and he got traded away eventually. So, you would have to, somebody either in the locker room would have to step up. So you would have to get, I don't know,
I think McAvoy fills that role. McAvoy is not like he's a leader on the Bruins. He's young, but he's not. I mean, he's leading that decoy. He's the man.
Like, but I'm just talking about being vocal in the locker room. Getting on people in a positive way, not just chewing people out.
I think that's why Wheeler's here.
Okay.
I think Wheeler is the guy that's going to start getting the boys going, because I mean that's another thing we don't have on this team. It's like we have everyone's best friends and they all chit chat, they're all chummy, but Trouba is the strong silent type, and you need a guy to get in there and
except when he threw his helmet.
Like Revo, like Brendan, to your point from a few weeks ago, like Revo was that guy. Get the boys going, gas up the team. We have guys like Wheeler maybe doing that, but yeah, I think McAvoy doing that.
McAvoy, McAvoy's numbers aren't going to wow anybody. I think like last year he had somewhere in the 50-point, range. He's not a big goal scorer. I think he gets a fair amount of assists, but he's a true blue liner. McAvoy is a really good Ryan Lindgren.
Mm-hmm.
A really, really good Ryan Lindgren.
I think. I mean, you know what? So now we've reached out to Lucic, and now we got to reach out to Drury. Drury, if you're listening, put this package together because this is going to work. And yeah, he comes home. He comes home to New York, and he plays for the Rangers, and it's a dream come true for everybody. Imagine you have 2 lifelong Ranger fans now. The first time.
Hopefully we have no fans yet, because if we do, we just lost them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem for us yet. When everyone goes into the backlog, they'll be like, "Wait, these guys have been assholes the whole time." Shit. All right. So let's move. Are we done with the Bruins now?
Yeah,
just to put a bow on it. I think I would make that, emotions aside, 10 times out of 10. I'd make that move if
Dave's
that was
on
an
board.
option.
And we could you make the deal sweet enough, and maybe Boston retains some of the money.
Yeah. I mean, you do the first and second. First and second, Kreider, Lindgren, and they retain 30% of his salary.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. They need to spend the money. So it's not like
Well, how much cap space do they have left?
well, they're not much.
After they're done blowing it up, they'll have a ton.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's move on. This is the big story. This is it, folks. The move we've been on an NHL level. This is not signing Scanlin, but the move we've all been waiting for. Erik Karlsson has been traded to Pittsburgh. This is an insane three-way trade. Before we dive into it, I'm going to just outline exactly what this trade is. So, Pittsburgh acquires Erik Karlsson, forward Rem Pitlick, forward Dylan Hamaliuk, and San Jose's third-round pick in 2026. San Jose gets Pittsburgh's 2024 first-round pick, which is a top 10 protected. Michael Granlund, defenseman Jan Ruda, and forward Mike Hoffman. Now, out of nowhere, Montreal, because they had to come in because there was cap issues that they had to work around, so Montreal came in to help. Montreal gets Pittsburgh's 2025 second-round pick, Jeff Petrie, Casey DeSmith, and forward Nathan Laguerre. So
Montreal won the trade.
Montreal absolutely won this trade. Montreal is the only team that gets better here. This is the most brain dead hockey move I've seen ever. Pittsburgh, they gave up so much. They're pretty much out of they've entered Boston status with this move. They gave up so much to get Erik Karlsson. Why? What are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, here's what's going to happen. First of all, Erik Karlsson is a bad defenseman, and they what they needed was an actual defenseman.
Yes, yeah,
right. They get scoring from their forwards. They needed it. They were struggling. They're struggling to keep the puck out of the net. So what's the plan? They're gonna outscore the rest of the division.
With who?
Is that that's their plan?
Yeah, I mean it's. And I don't know, and I'm eating my hat now. Like last week, I said, when we talked about Karlsson potential destinations, I said, Pittsburgh's the only team that gets better with Karlsson. And man, they made me look like an idiot.
Well,
I mean, I
love how excited Pittsburgh fans are right now.
Well. Have you met a Pittsburgh fan? You know a few Pittsburgh fans.
I know.
They don't really know much other than Penguins good.
Yeah. So for those of you out there who don't know me, there's nothing in the world I hate more than a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. I think Pittsburgh Penguin fans are the lowest form of life. And I love that they are so excited right now because nothing brings me more happiness than sad Penguins fans. I don't even need to see it. Just I'm gonna go to bed tonight happy, knowing that someday soon there are gonna be tears just flooding the streets, the filthy streets of Pittsburgh.
That's a pretty clean city. It's let's be fair to the city.
Yeah, I was in Pittsburgh the year that the Steelers beat the Jets in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And Steelers fans, and I know that Steelers fans are Penguins fans, but the Steelers fans were very gracious. They were buying us drinks. Now, granted, we lost the game. But something happens to those hardworking people when they put on that fucking Penguins jersey that they just become the scourge of the earth. Like something happens to them. They become Philadelphians when they put on that Penguins jersey.
Ooh.
Like they go from like honest, hardworking people. Like if you ever met a Pirates fan,
No.
that guy's a sweetheart. You want to lend that guy your weed whacker. He doesn't even need to ask you for it. You ask him if he needs to borrow the power washer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's how much of a sweetheart that guy is. Same thing for Steelers fans. The second they put on that fucking Penguins jersey, they just turn into fuckheads. Just pieces of they're objectively trash when they put on that jersey. It's just
I think we have different experiences with Pittsburgh fans. I agree with you. I don't like the Penguins. I hate the Penguins. I agree with you on the hatred and the animosity for the Penguins. I do not like them.
Yeah.
But in my personal experience, like having gone to a Rangers Penguins game in Pittsburgh, the most gracious of hosts.
Yeah.
They were super nice. Met Mario Lemieux.
Well, wait, we didn't meet Mario Lemieux as so much as stared and gawked at him as he exited the elevator and walked by like a giant Sasquatch to look back at us, all draped in our Ranger gear.
Are you sure it was Mario Lemieux? Because
It was Mario.
So,
You sure it wasn't
just
Milan Lucic?
It was not Lucic. No. But we did have our Rangers slippers on, so
There you go.
what I dislike about the fans, and most of my like in Pittsburgh, they were fine. It was a lot like there was an elitist glaze over that whole arena where we know we're the toast of the NHL. Ranger fans are here. Let's be nice to them, right?
Yeah.
You know, Dan Boyle scored the game-winning goal that game.
Well, it would have been the tying goal in the shootout, but it was a double touch and got called back, and the Penguins won.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, but Penguins
I remember that game.
Penguins fans in New York City, they deserve the worst in life. You know, because like it's one thing. It's like, listen, New York, it's a transient city. There are people who are fans from all over the world. You don't have to like New York sports if you live in New York City. It's almost not expected at this point. But there's something about that air of like, entitlement becomes antagonistic because they know they're somewhere else. And so they have to, they will poke and prod and rub in your face the fact that Sidney Crosby was born. And it's like, well, dude, you're just a punchable asshole.
All I've ever wanted from them, all I've ever wanted from them, and I agree with you completely about New York-based Pittsburgh fans. Mm-hmm. They're trash. But all I've ever wanted from them is just let me hear you acknowledge it, that you don't deserve the happiness that you've been given.
Yeah.
Like, you don't deserve it. Your franchise was going away.
Twice.
Nobody cared about the Penguins, so they spoon-fed you Lemieux and Yager. And the second those two were done winning, you all went away again. And the franchise almost went bankrupt again. So they spoon-fed you Crosby, Letang, and Malkin. All I want is to hear you say it. Just say, I know that Gary Bettman had to save me because I'm a garbage person. I'm not an actual hockey fan.
That's the other thing. They don't know about hockey. They know about the Penguins. Mm-hmm. They don't understand hockey.
Right.
Like Devils fans, I don't like Devils fans either, but I respect them because they fucking know hockey.
Yeah, they're not Islander fans.
They're not Islander fans.
You know, they're not Islander fans. They're not Pittsburgh fans. They understand hockey.
Well, yeah. Because let's put it this way. If you sign up to be a Devils fan, you better know your shit because that is...
Because odds are you were born into 4 Stanley Cups really fast.
Three Stanley Cups.
Three Stanley Cups and a near miss. But still, like, they weren't spoon fed; they were earned.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But listen, like, we could be honest. Jersey, there's a lot of bandwagoning going on when it comes to Jersey fans.
Yeah.
Like,
What I think? I think right now what's happening with Jersey fans is they're just like things have been so dark for them for so long, and now it's like they're a really good fucking team, and I think they look to us. When I say us, I mean Ranger fans. For some strange reason, Devils fans look to Ranger fans for acknowledgement. Like, they want us to acknowledge the fact that their team is good.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand.
It's little brother stuff. It's just like...
Yeah. Say what you will about the Islanders and their fans. I mean, the Islander fans are just... I don't even know. Like, Islander fans are like Oscar, the Grouch. He is a physical representation of every single Islander fan. But they don't give a fuck what anybody thinks of them because they can't, right? I mean, They're just a bunch of drunks in flip-flops and American flag tank tops. That's every Islander fan.
Yeah.
They don't care what we think about them. But Jersey fans, they look for acknowledgement from us.
They need that validation. Like, our team is good.
It's serious little brother syndrome.
Yeah, which I mean, they don't actually. I mean, they've been more successful in the past 25 years than we have.
Yeah, they are a more successful franchise than the Rangers.
Yeah.
Period.
So I mean, but hey, I mean that's not their insecurity is not my problem.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. But this is what the humility and the humble attitude that the Devils fans have, because they are. I mean, listen, there is bants back and forth to Rangers Devils, but they are a humble franchise, a humble fan base. They have humility, whereas Pittsburgh does not. They will.
Right.
If you know a Pittsburgh Penguins fan,
right? I do know a Pittsburgh
Penguins fan. On Monday morning, the first thing they're going to tell you is about the game they won on Sunday night and how awesome it was. And it's like, dude,
there's a really strong rivalry between the Rangers and the Devils and their fans, but it's different. You're right, it's different. We're not fist fighting Devils fans.
Not anymore.
We might argue with Devils fans a lot, but it's there is, as a Rangers fan, I think there's a respect for me. Like, I respect the Devils as a franchise. I respect that. I don't consider their fans bandwagon fans or front running fans. First of all, I don't like the expression bandwagon fan. That's dumb. I think it's dumb to be mad at a person for liking a team that's good.
Yes, of course. Well, I think
it's dumb.
When I said bandwagon, it's like my brother became a Devils fan in 1995. Right.
That's how your brother is a Devils fan.
He was. He grew up and he's like, oh no, I'm a Rangers fan, right?
Yeah.
So he's a goalie. Grew up idolizing Richter and Brodeur. Like this is the most formative moment of Ranger fans' lives in our generation. So I mean, I get it, but a lot of those fans stayed Devils fans, and during that period, the mid to late 90s, Devils fans were exactly what we were saying about Pittsburgh fans now, or the Pittsburgh fans have been for the past 10 years, 20, 15 years. They were that unknowledgeable, entitled, kind of like annoying.
In their defense, and I can't believe I'm defending Devils fans. But
you're married to one, so this is the
Devils in the 90s. In the 90s, the Devils were still relatively new to New Jersey.
Yeah.
I think, you look at a city like Seattle, and I think there's the potential for uneducated hockey fans entering into our world for the next 12 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they get really good, like the Devils got really good. But consider this. Dave, you're giving me a face. The Devils they got really good.
No, I'm sorry. That's my wrestling asshole face.
if we were just a year younger, the three of us, there's like a 60% chance we'd be Devils fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Just a year younger. Maybe not you, Dave, because you have an older brother who was a Ranger fan.
Right, and we had a guy, a family that lived above us who the guy's older, probably like 15 years older than me, and he like kind of brainwashed us to be Ranger fans, Denver Bronco fans, Met fans, for better or worse, mostly for worse.
Like my brother-in-law was a huge Rangers fan, and that's how I got into hockey, was watching hockey with my sister and my brother-in-law. Because I was young. I was 8 and 9 years old. I was 8 when they started dating. So if at that point Brodeur was, if Brodeur got drafted 2 years sooner,
right?
Who knows? If it was the Devils in that, if the Devils won that game 7 and went on to win the cup, who knows? How many Devils fans that we know that are just not even a full year younger than us?
Yeah. And it really is like, it's that 94, 95, 96 span. Again, we're back on 94. But like, it is that span of time. Like, especially, in Staten Island at that point, like, it's 50-50. It was Rangers Devils 50-50. Like, Staten Island is not New York Rangers country.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but for all y'all who don't know Staten Island, there is a huge split. So it's, especially in the mid-90s, there's a lot of Cowboy fans because they went on their Super Bowl runs there.
Staten Island's all front row.
A lot of Yankee fans, and
how you doing?
And the South Shore of Staten Island, which is like half of Staten Island, think they belong in Jersey anyways because that's the next spot that they move to. So like, yeah, you're absolutely right, but I think it's this front runner mentality, this I'm a winner, but I didn't earn it kind of shit.
Well, there's a huge divide in Jersey. Like sometimes when I run out of things, like when my wife and I are like arguing about Rangers Devils hockey, lately, I run out of things to say before she does because of what's gone down this season. So I'll have to start throwing pot shots. Like,
yeah.
Like the Devils are the New Jersey Devils are the third most popular team in New Jersey. But
this brings us to a new segment on how to be a good husband by Brendan Lyons.
No, there's a split even in Jersey, in Central and North Jersey, because some people have just generational Ranger fans, or they came from the city, and then South Jersey. My sister lives down.
Philly.
Yeah, my sister lives down in South Jersey, and she's just disgusted with the amount of Flyers shit she sees on a daily basis.
Yeah,
it's so gross.
All right.
But
anyway, I want to bring it back to Erik Karlsson because I want to.
I forgot that we were talking about that.
Yeah,
that we were talking about that fucking bum.
That's all right, so we think. Well, let's get final thoughts on Erik Karlsson, the Erik Karlsson trade, and then I have a game for us. We're going to play a quick game after this, and then we'll wrap it up. So, final thoughts on the Erik Karlsson trade, Brendan.
Objectively bad. Erik Karlsson is an objectively bad defenseman. This is going to make them objectively worse.
Dave?
Couldn't be happier for the San Jose Sharks and the Montreal Canadiens. Good on you.
Way to go, Mike Greer.
Couldn't be happier for the Pittsburgh Penguins and their entire fan base. Good luck, pals. That's about it. I think everybody won what they wanted to get.
Everyone got what they wanted, yeah.
So you're gonna get what you deserve now.
Yeah. And
you fucking schleps, you pieces of shit.
Yeah, so I guess from my wrap up again, like Pittsburgh defied all expectations. They were the only team that could have gotten better with Erik Karlsson, and they're somehow like fuck themselves on this. So like good for them. I'm happy. All right, let's wrap it up. We're gonna play a game. We're gonna play Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Oh.
Okay. This is the Tri-State Color Commentators edition.
Oh, God.
Okay. So Fuck, Marry, Kill. Chico Resch, Joe Micheletti, or Butch Goring. Jesus Christ. You could start discussing. I'll go first.
I know who you're gonna kill off the bat without even thinking.
No, you don't.
Oh yeah?
Maybe you're right. Maybe you do. So I'll start. Actually, you know what? I don't know. Like, I'd probably fuck Chico Rush.
Yeah.
He seems like he's at least fun. Like we'd have a good time. I'd marry Butch Goring. Like he's like a nice soft. God, Dave. I'd marry Butch Goring. I think that he's sensitive.
Wait, so you're gonna kill Joey?
I fucking hate Joe Michelotti.
Yeah, this is a deep-seated hatred that he's discussed with me for years.
I mean, he's gotten better, but he would spend 20 minutes per game coming up with ridiculous conspiracy theories about every single play.
I love it.
That puck must have bounced off of this guy's skate and this guy's stick. Like, no, it just went straight in. Like, I think he got his stick up really high. And I'm doing a Joe Michelotti impression, if you can't tell. I think he got his stick up high and caught him under the visor. And it's like, no, it's just he walked into the boards. Like, and he doesn't do it anymore. Thank God. So he's gotten better.
Do it to me again. You're gonna kill Joe, and then what were the other two again?
I'm gonna kill Joe. I'm gonna fuck Chico, and I'm gonna marry Butch.
Okay.
Great names for this game. Holy shit!
I think I can't. First of all, all right. I can't kill Joe.
To each his own.
But I think I'd also marry Butch because
Okay.
I can't marry Joe. Because imagine having Joe. Imagine having to have Joe come home every night after working with Sam all day. Like, it would just be miserable. My life would be miserable with Joe. But I can't kill him, so I'm gonna marry Butch. I'm gonna fuck Joe. I'm gonna kill Chico.
That's good. All right, I like it. All right, I like it. All right, Dave, you're up.
God, man, I don't like. It hurts my heart.
Dave's just gonna die from fucking shitting himself. He's gonna shit himself to death.
I need a shovel in my office. Like, I don't know what's going on here. It's like Ringling Brothers over here.
So all right. So let's see. Butch is probably the oldest, or is Chico older than Butch? I don't even know.
I think Chico's a little bit older. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely marry Chico. You got to do that, man. He's a lot of fun. Rocking that stash from like the 70s and shit. Now, all right. So like, I'm probably gonna somewhat agree with killing Joe Michelotti just based on the fact that it would hurt my heart. Obviously, I've never had much of a problem with him. He's no JD, but then again, JD almost ruined the Rangers. But that's a different position and another story altogether. And then, Butch Goring, like, he's got that hate fuck face. So maybe that would be, a good time. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. You kind of weather like a beat up catcher's mitt or somebody that, like, stood too close to a claymore that went off. I don't know. A lot of pop marks in there.
So you're fucking Butch, is what you're saying.
He's fucking. Oh, yeah, he's fucking Butch. Oh, you hear what he's talking about?
I'm not going to be the Butch one, I guess.
All right. Well, that was fun. That was a fuck, marry, kill. And that's our show. Thank you all for listening. Remember, follow us on Twitter, RangerThinks23. For David Pacheco.
Goodbye, fellow Ranger fans.
For the pile of feces he's left on my floor. For Brendan Lyons.
See you later, everybody. We've got a cut recording now so we can talk about what happened in Montgomery, Alabama the other day.
Oh, jeez. I'm Carlo Montanino. See you all next week. Thank you.